All right, well, let's get started, everyone. Uh, Thank you so much for taking time to join us this afternoon. This Beethoven 9 virtual sing-along is sponsored by the Hawaii chapter of the American Choral Directors Association, of which I am the vice president. My name is Alex Schumacher, and I'm the director of choral activities at Hawaii Pacific University. I'm delighted to see you all and so happy to spend this time this afternoon with you all. I hope you are all safe and healthy and well. We are dedicated this afternoon to doing a virtual sing-along of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. We will only do the sing-along with the fourth movement. Otherwise, it would take an hour and 40-ish minutes, depending on how the tempos in the first three go. For starters, what you will hear this afternoon and what you will sing along with is all produced virtually. The instruments are all synthetic. The orchestra is synthetic. Produced all on computer, but you will hear actual pre-recorded humans singing both the choir parts and the solo parts along with you. Unlike other times when we perform great works with orchestra and chorus and soloists, you are now free to sing along with the solo parts as loudly as you would like. In fact, I kind of encourage it. When else are you going to get to sing the Beethoven, "Oh, Freunde," especially at the beginning of that dramatic moment? Now is the time for you to shine. Sing whatever you want. If you want to switch parts, and mean old myself or Susie or anyone else said, no, you should really sing alto for this, and you want to sing soprano, go ahead. Now is the time. Okay. With that all said, we highly recommend using headphones if can. It's engineered specifically to be beneficial for headphones. The instruments and the singing is panned in such a way as if you are in the room with them. So headphones are better. If for any reason you start to experience lag audio or video or anything, a quick way to fix that is by turning off your video on Zoom. Sometimes that helps increase bandwidth and you might get caught up in the audio and the score in that as well. Many thanks to Peter Endrag, who put together the score video for this event. Yay, Peter, thank you so much. You will see, I know many of you have your Baron scores ready to go, but in the video, along with the conducting, you will see a scrolling score. And in that video, anything highlighted in blue is just the orchestra. Anything highlighted in pink is the soloists. And anything highlighted in yellow is the choir. Okay. So many thanks, Peter, for putting that together for us. A quick bit of background about Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. There's so much myth and lore and story about this piece that it seems important to quickly go over some of the facts we know about this. For starters, Beethoven started sketching ideas for the Ode to Joy, that seminal poem by Friedrich Schiller. He had it in his desk starting in 1792 and started working on sketches for how the melody should go around that time. Meaning he had this piece, this poem and this piece of music floating around in his head for more than 30 years. That's amazing. I think I have things on my desk that are 30 years old, but it's not by my choice. It's just because I haven't cleaned it. This is from the Chicago Symphony. By 1824, when the Ninth was premiered, Beethoven was almost completely deaf. He'd long ago given up playing the piano in public, and although he was billed as the conductor of this new symphony on May 7th, 1824, and did indeed appear to beat time and turn the pages of his score, the players and singers had been cautioned beforehand to pay no attention to him. Instead, they all followed the discreet, utterly reliable beat provided by Michael Umlauf, the concertmaster. When, in one of the most famous accounts in all of classical music, the audience burst into applause. Some say it was at the end of the scherzo, others at the end of the entire symphony. Beethoven couldn't hear the ovation because he had not kept the same tempo in his mind as the actual orchestra. His tempo was slower, and he was still conducting. He stood his back to the crowd, still leafing through his score. Only when the contralto soloist, Carolyn Unger, tapped him on the shoulder and turned him around did he see his public applauding wildly. In truth, it must have been a miserable performance, hastily prepared under the composer's sadly compromised direction, for a public which can't reasonably have been expected to fully grasp the profundity of what they were hearing. Here are some reviews of the first performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Quote, "The necessary differentiation of light and dark, security of intonation, fine shading, and nuanced execution were all lacking." Here's another one. "Weak players. They set down their bows and just sat out so many measures." And lastly, when the sopranos couldn't reach the high notes, they simply didn't sing. It's surprising that the piece made an impression at all, but for at least one critic, the effect was indescribably great and magnificent. Thank goodness they kept performing it after the first performance. Thank goodness those critics didn't really matter. Okay. Beethoven 9 has a long history in Hawaii. One of the Windward Choral Society singers, Colleen Kelly, shared with us that in 1954, the first performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was given in Hawaii. Colleen reminisced that she remembered the soloists singing in their front room and wondering how they made such beautiful music together. Her father, the conductor, placed ads in the Star Bulletin newspaper for anyone who wanted to sing because there was no Honolulu community chorus in those days. Lots of folks showed up at the rehearsals, which then was the beginning of the Honolulu community chorus. And there was no Blaisdell Auditorium. There was still no Waikiki Shell, and they performed it at McKinley Auditorium, she thinks. So I sincerely hope you enjoy singing along with us today. I'm going to start the video and then I'll check in again at the end of the whole performance. Enjoy.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Jace Kaholakulasaplan, and I'm the Director of Choral Activities at the University of Hawaii, and I'm the President of Hawaii ACDA. I wanted to just take a second to offer a fond mahalo to our Vice President, Dr. Alex Schumacher, and to Susie McCreary Dupree, and our ohana at the Windward Choral Society and the Kona Choral Society for leading and hosting the charge. We are so excited to sing some Beethoven. I wanted to just take a second to introduce our conductors. At the beginning, we feature Samuel Chen, Megan Salah, as well as Keenan Dolan. All of them are graduate conductors here at the University of Hawaii. Thank you so much for including us in your presentation this evening. Aloha.
I was supposed to be singing with them, but I left my music at home. Windward and Kona, and there's a third group that we're singing with.
Went there much longer. Bravo!
Yay! And the
Bravo
comments
to
are
all!
Yay.
Yay!
Yay! Thumbs up.
Well, as I said earlier, thank you so much for joining us and spending some of your Sunday together with each other in song. It's always nice to see such dedicated and wonderful singers. It's a privilege to spend this time with you, and I hope you enjoyed and got a little bit of the joy of humanity out of today. Hopefully we can sing again with
Amen.
each other soon.
Amen. And look, Valerie.
Valerie
nice
was
to
here,
see
so she sang with me.
Without
Oh,
a
good. I
score.
bet you've only
Without
sung
a
it a couple.
score.
Oh, I bet you've got it memorized. Yes, you've sung it a couple of times or two. Nice to see you, Alec. Well done. UH conductors, well done. Jace, well done. Peter, thank you. The hours that went into doing all of that, Alec. The putting together that orchestra, the synthetic orchestra, and the singers and the soloists. Kudos to you. Fabulous work. Really, just fabulous work.
Thank you.
Yay.
It's only slightly harder than doing it in real life.
Like
And
by
kudos to you,
that.
Susie, for being such an inspiration.
Yes.
Well, we'll sing this live. This will be our comeback piece, right, Alec? We'll have HBU, UH. We're gonna have the most massive production of Beethoven's ninth ever in Hawaii.
As they say in Deutschland, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you
Good
again.
to see you. Thanks, Alec.
Aloha.
Thanks, Alec.
Mahalo, Alec.
Beautiful work. Lots of work went into this, Alec. Thank you.
Aloha.